thanks guys for clicking on this video. I'm assuming that you guys are also super excited about Spalletti coaching Italy. I want you guys to comment really quick what you guys think he's going to be able to do. He's going to come in confident. He's going to come in with like some momentum. And I think the way he plays too is very fitting to what Mancini started. And it's going to be proactive, right? We're going to be progressive. We're going to be a really good attacking side. So what I did here is I looked at his Napoli team. And then I looked at Italian players that fit the player profiles of each player on his starting 11 for Napoli. And I'm going to give it to you right here. We can start with goalie. He had Meret for Napoli. And Meret will probably be called up, you know. I think he'll be on the team. But Donnarumma is going to be the starter. And I think the important part to point out here is that for Napoli, building up from the back was important. But using the goalie wasn't so important. For like example, Meret is not that good with his feet. So Donnarumma coming in his place is okay because Donnarumma is not that good at his feet either. Then we could talk about his fullbacks. So Di Lorenzo and Mario Rui were the fullbacks he used for Napoli. And obviously Di Lorenzo is Italian, so he's going to plug right in there for the Italian national team. I think Di Lorenzo is one of the best right backs in the world. He had a really good season for Napoli, and I think he's going to be for sure starter for us for the Italian national team. And then for the other side, Rui, who I think is a very like small, technical defender who's really good with his feet. He's really good in passing plays. I think an obvious replacement for him is Di Marco, who also had a really, really good season for Inter. And the thing with Napoli is that they usually played a back four, and when Di Lorenzo pushed up, Rui would sit in, right? Because Cavaro was really, really attacking, so they let him do his thing. Rui would sit in and form like a back three almost. And that's really something that Di Marco, is used to. For Inter, he's played in the back three before. But I would say that he's also better than Rui. I like Di Marco better. I think he's better going forward. He has a better left foot, better crosser, better scorer. So if anything, they could, go back and forth there with Di Lorenzo coming in and Di Marco pushing up. So I think that's an easy shoe-in right there. Di Marco and Di Lorenzo as their fullbacks. Kim Min-jae for Napoli was the defender that took the ball up. He was the one that was able to progress the ball forward and then make a nice little pass going, to his midfielder or his forward. He was able to pick up the play, right? So Kim was really, really good at that. The thing is I think Bastoni's even better. On the other side is where I think it gets tricky because there's a couple players that you could put in there that I think could do the job, right? So Ratmani was his Napoli center back. He's more of the physical one. He's more of the short passing, good on the ball. He's nothing crazy, nothing special, but he's solid. The thing is who are we going to play there? Now, we could play Scalvini. I think he's up and coming. He's also really young. So if we have Bastoni and Scalvini, those are both really, really young center backs. Is that something that you want to go into a tournament with like two inexperienced center backs? So it's probably the position where you want the most experience. I don't know, but they're both really good. So we could do that. I think we could go ahead and do that. But the other options I'm thinking about are Mancini. Now, Mancini is like maybe a little bit older and maybe even more clumsy than these young center backs I'm talking about. But he's really, really physical. And I think if he's under the right leadership, under the right mentorship, I think he could be a very good defender. He's more physical, I would say, than both the center backs I've mentioned already. So he could go in there. I also think Romagnoli deserves a shout, even though the only thing is that I don't like two left-footed center backs being like side to side. So that's the only thing if I'm going to get critical here, but who knows what Spalletti likes. I think Romagnoli is probably the best center back out of those two, Scalvini and Mancini. Now, Scalvini has the most upside, the most potential. He's the youngest. Mancini is probably the most physical and whatnot. But Romagnoli, I think, is the most solid out of those two. The only thing is that he's lefty. So is he going to get put in there? I don't know. For me, I'm going to go with Bastoni and Scalvini as my two center backs that I think would replace Kim Min-jae and Ratmani. Now, the midfield is super important, and I think the most fun I had looking at the Italian team and the Napoli team. So for Napoli, he had Anguissa, Lobotka, and Zielinski. We're going to start with Lobotka because I think that's the most important piece of his midfield. And the thing with Lobotka and this position, the regista, Spalletti is so good at it, right? Because with Lobotka and Brozovic, he turned them into beasts. Those are the guys that Spalletti left his fingerprints on. I think the obvious choice for Lobotka replacement for Italy is Verratti. Now, the only thing is Verratti is not really reliable, to be honest. And then my second choice would be Sensi, and he's probably even less reliable. If Verratti is healthy and he's good going into the World Cup, I don't care where he's playing. Throw that man into our regista position. He's one of the most talented players that I've seen in the past 10 years. I think he deserves that spot. And I think, honestly, it's like a perfect player profile replacement right there, Lobotka to Verratti. If it's not either one of those two, I'm going to say that I think Barella should play regista for the Italian national team if Spalletti is our coach. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because I think Barella has a really high IQ. I think he is one of the smartest players on the field at all times. He's very easily adaptable to all things that you throw at him. I think that he is a really good passer. He's a really good tempo setter. He's really smart, like I said. I just think that he is a lot quicker, athletic, and he moves a lot better laterally than other options. Now, the obvious answer is Locatelli, right? But I think I have him somewhere else because Locatelli, yes, he plays the regista or the 6 or the deep lying playmaker for Juve, right? But I just don't think for the Italian national team it's going to work. If it's not Verratti or Sensi, I'm telling you, I think Barella would go there. Now, for Anguissa, the obvious answer is Barella, right? He's the 8. He's the box-to-box. If it's not Barella, I think the two options there that could go there are Fratesi and Tonali. Now, Fratesi, if you want to have a more physical runner that like gets into the box, that's good at scoring those like late runs, you throw in Fratesi. If you want Tonali, who I think is better in the tempo setting, who's better on the ball with his feet, he's a better long passer, I think you throw in Tonali there. So those are the two options that I think can go in for Anguissa. And I mean, those are really good two options to go for, right? So for Zielinski was his hybrid 8-10, right? More of a 10 than an 8, but he was his more attacking midfielder. That's where I think Locatelli should be. I think honestly that's like a perfect replacement there. Another reason why I think Locatelli would be really good here is that he was also really, really good during the Euro Cup at this position for Italy. This was his best run during his career probably when he played this position for Italy, came in, scored those 2 goals, and was really influential every time he came off the bench. So if I'm going to be hopeful here, I would say that I would have Verratti at the Lobotka position, my regista, and then I would have Barella for Anguissa and Locatelli for Zielinski. Up top is another one where we have to get real critical because, I mean, that's where they made their bread and butter, Napoli. I mean, Osimhen and Kvara, and, you know, we can't forget about Politano, but those two guys that I mentioned before, Osimhen and Kvara, they really stepped up and went crazy, and they carried Napoli offensively, we could say. Who's going to replace Osimhen? Who's going to replace Kvara? Who's going to replace with Politano? We can start with Politano, easy enough. I think, why not call up Politano? Spalletti had him at Inter, and he had him at Napoli, so I don't think he's not going to call him up for Italy. He obviously likes him, and I think he's good enough. I think he's strong enough, and he works hard enough. He's a good professional. Why not? I think give him the chance at the right wing position. Let him play there. Now, for striker, Osimhen, he's hard to replace because he offers so much. Who are we going to replace there? I think the best option if we want to go for physical is Scamacca, right? We got to hope that he has a really good season for Atalanta and he gets back to his ways after a really poor season at West Ham, which supposedly he was injured at. So, you know, I don't want to throw him under the bus. I don't think he's as fast in the long run, but he's pretty quick for his size. He's strong. He's big. He's got a good shot. He's good at heading. Now, if it's not Scamacca, I don't know. I hate to say this, but do we still trust in Immobile? Let me know if we still trust in Immobile. I think out of any coach to get anything out of Immobile, it's got to be Spalletti, right? It's got to be Spalletti. And if he pops off the way he pops off for Lazio, bro, we're going to have one of the best nines in any international tournament. So that's why I'm still like, you know, I don't want to give up on him. I do. At the same time, I don't. And now for the left wing, I think, honestly, there's only one answer, and that's Chiesa for Kvara. Kvara, I think, is a little bit better, like, dribbling-wise. Like, he's better with his feet, and he's better going, like, slow-mo. He can slow down the game, and he can beat people, like, a little bit more methodically, where I think Chiesa is just, like, athleticism. He's just beating you off the speed. He's beating you off the dribble, and, like, he does it a little bit more differently than I think Kvara does. I think Kvara is maybe a better winger, and Chiesa is a better attacker, I would say. I think that's how I would differentiate them. If you guys agree with that, let me know. But I think that has to be our option there because Chiesa is our most dangerous player going forward. But that's the starting 11. And I think, honestly, that would be such a sick starting 11. Spalletti could really take that team far, okay? I'm not going to say anything crazy, but he could take that team real far. He also has some bench players that he used very often for Napoli. Raspadori, Simeone, Elmas, and Ndombele. We're going to start with Raspadori because that's easy because that's just Raspadori, right? We could use him. He could find his way up top if we need him. He could find his way in the winger position. He could find himself in the midfield even. Why not? I don't even know. But I think he's that good. He's that talented. we're going to have Raspadori in the national team. Now, for Simeone is that hard-nosed, scrappy forward who gets in the box, scores those ugly goals. And I think Retegui, who had a couple good debut games for Mancini, scored a couple goals. He's going to have a season in Serie A with Genoa. I think he's going to have a couple seasons building up. Why not throw him in that Simeone position where he comes off the bench, he's scrappy, he's hard-nosed, he works hard, he pressures the defenders. I think he would be a really good shoe-in for Simeone. Now, for Elmas, I think the perfect replacement there is Pellegrini. They're both very similar in the fact that they could play anywhere in the midfield and up, right? Except for maybe the number 9 position, but they could play across the midfield and on the wing positions. He's good at almost everything in the attacking sense of the game. Same, likewise, to Elmas. And then last but not least, Ndombele. Ndombele is a tricky character. He's physical, but also has really good feet, and he's able to, get out of tight spaces. And looking at that, I'm trying to find a similar player in the Italian national team, and it was kind of hard, but I came up with 2, and I came up with 2 that, each of them have certain aspects of Ndombele that I think could be important or used, right? So for the physical side, the hard running side, if you want to get somebody that's just going to be, a truck in there, you could put in Pessina. I think he has a similar style of play where you could throw him in there and he's gonna do the runs for Italy, right? Now, if you want to get the more tricky, crafty side of Ndombele, I think you go with Castrovilli, even though I know he just got hurt again, I think, and he's been kind of getting hurt a lot. I think he's also a very, very talented player, and I hope that he can get back into it. And last but not least, I just want to mention Zaniolo, because I still have faith in Zaniolo. I'm going to be one of those guys that still has faith in Zaniolo. I know a lot of people talk shit about him, and I know he has his trickiness about him, his attitude and, his professionalism, whatever. I just think that he is definitely up there with top 2, top 3 most talented players that the Italian national team has. And if we're looking at who could be one of the best players in the world, I think Zaniolo has what it takes to do that. I just hope that he finds the right coach, finds the right season, finds the right spot for him. And then I hope Spalletti is able to get the best out of him. If not, then that's going to be definitely a missed opportunity, a wasted talent. But I think that if Zaniolo goes into this lineup, he could definitely, shoot up our chances of being that much better. That's basically it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was really fun going through that because I'm just super excited about Spalletti going to be coaching Italy, man. I know Conte was the second in line, and that's not a bad option. I'm not saying Conte is a bad option, but I'm just saying Spalletti is the better option, and I hope it really happens. If it is happening, if it does happen, then I'm going to be a happy guy. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you subscribe before you go so you can keep coming back, and I'll see you. Peace.